Good afternoon. Is it afternoon yet? Yes, it's just now afternoon. I feel like I lose time here at South by.
Hold it closer to your.
Oh, okay. Is that better? All right. If anybody can't hear me, just let me know. So thank you guys for coming. Excited to talk about our Roku DoorDash partnership today. So I'm Lindsay Pullins, and I lead our revenue strategy partnerships team at Roku. I am responsible for bringing net new, never been done before partnerships and experiences to the Roku advertising business for our advertisers and for our consumers. Peter, do you want to?
Hi, everyone. I'm Peter Giordano. I work at DoorDash in our ads and promos division, leading strategy and platform work. And one aspect of what my team focuses on is thinking about what are the next initiatives and strategies that we can do to continue to innovate and push the DoorDash ads platform forward. And partnerships with the likes of Roku that we'll talk about today is sort of one aspect of what my team thinks about and focuses on. This is a little weird. It says Lindsay's the moderator and I'm the speaker, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to kind of chat together. So one thing that I wanted to start with is have Lindsay, sort of from the perspective of Roku, just set the scene for like what we're seeing in streaming today and why like streaming and delivery makes sense as a partnership, just to kind of level set, and then we can get a little bit more into what we're doing together.
Yeah, thanks. So it's very relevant to this conversation. I'll share a little bit more about where we are in the state of streaming as I think about how we were pursuing our partnership. So the first thing is that streaming TV has officially surpassed linear TV, and so we've shifted out of linear TV. So according to Nielsen, that shift has happened, and so streaming is now larger and bigger than broadcast and cable together. The other thing I would say is that Roku, in the last year, we've seen that through our own viewing habits and behaviors that we see, particularly with the big game. We saw a 18% increase in reach as folks were watching this year over year. So it's pretty big, pretty substantial. So it's really important for advertisers as they're thinking about where they're putting their dollars and what's working for their investment to consider streaming, because we're seeing that shift. That shift has happened. The second piece is interactive. So TV has traditionally been kind of a lean back, look at the TV screen, big TV screen in your living room experience. And what we're seeing is now that folks are actually engaging with their TV screen and interacting. So 57% of Roku consumers told Roku that they are interested in using their remote to order delivery through their remote, through their TV screen, which we think is pretty cool. So we're doing a lot of innovation in that space, and we're continuing to test and learn, which ultimately was kind of what led us to the conversations with DoorDash, as how do we blend streaming and interactive and kind of make it a really cool user experience.
And I'll add a couple things to that. So I started my career as a producer at the Today Show like 20 years ago. So I worked at like the pinnacle of broadcast TV when broadcast TV actually like meant something and mattered. And I look back and I think like we had to beg, borrow, and steal just to get a broadcast segment aired on the website, because like why would we put something on the web when all we cared about was people watching the broadcast? And clearly things have changed in the past 20 years to the point that just the other day I was listening to a podcast with Matt Bellany of The Ringer and Puck, and he was interviewing the president of the Motion Picture Academy in advance of tomorrow night's Oscars, and he was like lambasting the president of the Academy for not having the Oscars streamed live. Like the Oscars are still only on broadcast, and they're not simultaneously streamed. And it's just so interesting that now a major event like that not being streamed is like weird and an exception to the rule as opposed to commonplace. And when you look at some of the stats they were talking about, like last year the Oscars got 16 million viewers, and 20 years ago they got like 60. Clearly there's a need and an appetite for consumers to engage in content in a different way. So just thinking about the streaming experience and obviously the consumer experience as it relates to it is something that I think is pretty cool and pretty exciting.
Yeah, so I'm excited to jump in and just kind of talk about our partnership. But before we do you want to share kind of what DoorDash has been up to from an advertising perspective as it relates to ad business?
Yeah, so my team works on both our ads business and our promotions business. So promotions have been around for several years. That's spend $20, get $5 off, or free delivery or what have you. That part of our business is particularly even more important today, certainly in sort of the macroeconomic climate where we want to ensure that all consumers can find an affordable option if they do want to get, the best of their local community delivered to them through DoorDash. So that's the promotion side of our business. We launched our ads business only about a year and a half ago. So DoorDash spent a long time as a business before they decided to launch an ads business. We did that about a year and a half ago. So now we are in the retail media space. People might not think of DoorDash as a traditional retailer, but we have transaction data, we have high intent consumers, and that's what we're doing. We work only with restaurant and CPG advertisers today. So restaurant advertisers obviously make sense. I'm guessing a lot of you think of DoorDash as a food delivery platform, which we are. But if you saw our Super Bowl ad, you know that we also get groceries, we do retail, we do flowers, we do alcohol, and sort of the non-restaurant part of our business is huge and growing. We're actually the number one in convenience as well as food. And so we are allowing CPG advertisers to also, promote their products through the DoorDash platform. So, like a traditional retail media network, we offer top of funnel branding opportunities as well as kind of down funnel transaction oriented placements within the DoorDash app. And the last thing I'll just say about our ads business is DoorDash was founded, and our mission remains today, to empower local economies and sort of democratize access to everything within your local community. And we made a pretty bold decision when we launched our ads business for our restaurant advertisers to only charge them on a CPA model, on a cost per acquisition. So our restaurant advertisers do not pay for an impression. They do not even pay for a click. They only pay if the ad leads to a successful order from their restaurant. So it really is kind of like a risk-free proposition for our advertisers, and something that we're proud of, because at least half of our restaurants are local mom and pops or SMBs who might not have huge marketing budgets or even any marketing sort of sophistication or team, and giving them the comfort that they can advertise and only pay if it works is something that we're pretty proud of, and I think aligns to our mission of really empowering all merchants and all local economies.
Thank you. That was great. So as you're thinking about, and as we started these conversations a little over a year ago, what was most exciting to your business as you were thinking about branching beyond your traditional model into new mediums? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so by and large, our ads business today is still within the DoorDash app and the DoorDash ecosystem, but there is no doubt that our consumer exists many other places, as every consumer does, and starting to think about how we branch outside of DoorDash, where else it would make sense to sort of serve ads on behalf of our merchants and try to connect an offline experience to a DoorDash purchase is something that we've been thinking about for quite a while. And quite frankly, the alignment that Lindsay talked about a little bit ago of sort of streaming content as well as delivery and an appetite to purchase just makes a lot of sense as the first place for us to sort of experiment. This idea of dinner and a movie or streaming and delivery just really goes hand in hand, and that was something that I think piqued our interest quite a bit when Roku and DoorDash started talking about how we can sort of connect each of our advertising experiences to a point of purchase through a platform like DoorDash.
So for those of you who aren't fully aware of our partnership, I think we probably should tell you guys a little bit more about what that is and what the experience is. And so I'll tease that. And so we've partnered together in a couple of different ways, but from an advertiser and a consumer perspective, we're making it easier for consumers to look at their TV screen, interact with their TV screen, and order DoorDash directly from the TV screen, and then it bumps to the mobile device to actually complete the order. So it's very seamless. So imagine yourself watching a show, and then the first commercial comes out, and potentially it's Wendy's, who happens to be our first partner on this, or advertiser that we're partnering with. and an interactive overlay comes over and it says, get X% or X dollar off your order at DoorDash right now. Are you hungry? And all a user has to do is actually click their remote, and they'll get requested to either enter their phone number, or Roku already has their phone number from when they launched or when they set up the Roku device, and then it goes right to their text message, and then they can actually launch right into the DoorDash app and complete that order. So that's kind of the user experience that we've created together that we're early days testing. There's a lot that our consumers are excited about. As I said, 57% of them are excited about this opportunity and are willing to engage with it. And so there's a lot of momentum with that. Peter, maybe you want to talk a little bit about like the advertiser side, or
Yeah, so I think what Lindsay just said about the consumer is really important. Whenever we think about ad opportunities at DoorDash, there's two constituencies that we have to please, and it's the consumer and the advertiser. As I mentioned before, we only get paid as an ads business if the ad works and the consumer orders. So we have to make sure everything we do is going to be relevant and a good experience for the consumer. But we obviously also have to make sure that it has benefit for an advertiser, or they're not going to want to work with us in the first place. And so what we love about this opportunity is, first, the consumer experience is a very natural one, right? We're not trying to teach a consumer to do something different that they're not accustomed to doing. Like, as Lindsay said, you literally just get a text message on your phone, you click it, you're in the DoorDash app, and you're ordering the way you probably do every other time you use DoorDash. So there's no new behavior to be learned, and we're literally delivering that to you when you're on your couch, and you don't even have to miss a beat on the show that you're streaming. So we're super excited about the consumer experience. For the advertiser experience, we hear a lot from our advertisers that, as every advertiser does, that they want both kind of like top of funnel awareness, excitement, but they also obviously want down funnel purchase and intent based advertising solutions. And this really allows us and Roku together to give these advertisers kind of the best of both worlds. These ads are running on Roku devices, 30-second sight, sound, motion, sizzle, that will hopefully make someone really hungry and want to order Wendy's. So we're giving them that excitement and reach that only TV and 70 million Roku homes can deliver. But then also allowing them to actually transact and purchase, and allowing the advertiser to encourage that direct action that heretofore has not really been afforded through a device like TV. So that's something that advertisers have been very excited about since we launched. As Lindsay mentioned, Wendy's is the first partner. We are talking to other retailers and groceries and CPGs, like other advertisers that sell their goods and services through DoorDash are eligible for this type of opportunity, and we're just really excited to keep bringing that to the advertisers and making the consumer experience more exciting.
Yeah, and I think it's important here, especially in the macroeconomic challenges that a lot of marketers are facing, is they still have those upper funnel reach goals that they have to hit. They still want to make sure that consumers understand their brand, understand the product that they're trying to sell. What is their product? Where can I get it? All of those great things. And so there's still those goals that they have to hit, but then they're also being pressured pretty significantly to understand what's happening. Am I actually, making a delivery? Am I getting those sales? And so this partnership really enables that, because an advertiser will get, obviously, those big reach numbers using TV, but then the partnership that exists today is that we'll get better measurement to be able to prove out what those sales were. Not just from the click of the Roku remote and did they interact and buy at that moment, but maybe it's 3-7 days later that they remembered and they made that purchase. DoorDash is working with us very closely to make sure we have that full funnel closed loop attribution that is so important right now for marketers.
Yeah, I think that's a really important and exciting point. Again, historically, TV has been maybe incorporated into mixed models or just thought about from a reach and an awareness perspective, and the ability for DoorDash to marry its purchase data with Roku's exposure data and not only show direct in the moment sales, but sales that happen several days later and other metrics that we're going to track through the entire consumer journey is something that advertisers are pretty excited about, to continue to bring that performance measurement to a historically reach and awareness based medium.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We've seen a lot of advertisers leaning in. Our campaigns right now are running, so it's early. I don't have any metrics to share with you just yet. Early reads are very positive. And so we're looking forward, hopefully here in a couple months, we'll have more to share there. One of the things I definitely want to make sure that we cover is the other part of our partnership, which is a pretty big deal. I'll let Peter take it away.
Yeah, I forgot about this. So as part of our partnership, we are also offering every Roku subscriber, current and new, free 6 months of Dash Pass, which is our membership program that gives you free delivery, discounted fees, all that fun stuff. So if any of you all are Roku subscribers and you're not Dash Pass members, go to roku.com/offers and get 6 months of free Dash Pass. And really the reason that we're doing this is, as Lindsay mentioned, there is a lot of overlap between a streaming and an entertainment experience and the desire for delivery. So why not continue to enable that for consumers and delight consumers so that they can enjoy their favorite shows and also get things delivered to their living room at the same time for free. So, well, not totally free, but free delivery. So, take advantage of that. Take advantage of that opportunity, and we're really excited to partner with Roku and bring that offer to all of Roku's homes.
Yeah, and I think it's also part of the innovation together. The more Dash Pass consumers that are also Roku consumers, it makes it that much easier for them to make a purchase quickly, and then obviously attribute that back from an advertiser perspective. So we're excited about that. Continuing to innovate as we think about how do we bring like dinner and a movie experiences to the living room with DoorDash, and adding a different or an additional player, whether it's a CPG or a QSR that wants to say, hey, dinner and a movie on us. Or at a discount or at an offer, is really attractive and great for the advertiser and the consumer here.
I was going to ask you a question, Lindsay. You sort of asked me what was exciting about, from DoorDash's perspective for this partnership. I'd love to hear a little bit more on the same thing on the Roku side. Like, what have you all been hearing for years, really, from your consumers and your research that made now the right time to start this type of interactivity?
Yeah, I mean, it's a couple of things. I would say from a marketer perspective, it's the measurement. It's the measurement. They're really excited about leveraging targeting, DoorDash targeting with NCTV to make it more precise, make it more relevant, and then it's the measurement on the back end. TV has, as you said, it has been more of a traditional type medium where you get your reach and frequency, GRP goals, those kinds of things, and those are all very important. But now is the time to really start thinking about how do I invest in a channel that can help me understand business outcome. And so I just got done. We were listening upstairs to Allison at Visa, and she was just talking about how do I explain impressions to the board or to the CFO, and I would say she's doing that, but this type of partnership allows CMOs to also do that and be able to say, I'm meeting my impression goals, my GRP goals, while I'm also driving business outcomes. And so I think that's what I'm most excited about. And then also the continued innovation with the interaction on the TV screen. We've all been doing this for quite some time in social channels where you're browsing through your favorite feed and you're always kind of at the verge of making that purchase, and then when an ad comes up at the right time and it's relevant to you. I wore a dress last night that I bought from Instagram, basically.
3 items on my body right now are from Instagram advertising. That's really embarrassing.
Yeah, so it's, when you think about food and entertainment in the living room, and I mean, how many of us sit in front of the TV and are eating? Like, it's a lot. I try very much not to. I do have dinner with my family and my kids every single night, and we turn off the TV. But kids go to bed and, I might be snacking or whatever it is late night. You're eating in front of the TV. So it's relevant to the consumer to be, to offer them an option to say, do you want delivery? It's impulse. It's also, it's there. It's great. So that's what I would say I'm most excited about, and seeing the evolution of that, and you know, we've been at this for some time now, and we're seeing great results. So I'm excited about that. Let's see here. Do we have the experience? Do we want to play the experience over there? Can show you guys Wendy's? No? We're looking around?
All right,
Don't worry about it if it's too much.
You sure?
Okay. I think it might be. No
There-
sound.
oh.
Toby says
there
every
we go.
day is now
Friday, Tuesday,
Friday,
Wednesday,
Friday.
There you go. User clicked on their remote.
Friday.
I
I always remember that.
because that's the easy one.
Try Wendy's hot and crispy fries, preferred almost 2-to-1 over McDonald's.
And just like that, your order is done. You've got a text message. You're in DoorDash by now, and your Wendy's will
Yeah,
be
and
there.
it didn't disrupt the consumer the experience. It did not disrupt the show. You know, it didn't disrupt, which is exactly what we're after. So let's see, what else we want to kind of mention? I mean, I feel like one of the things. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask you the last question, then we can open it up to the audience for questions. But we've talked a lot about streaming and food going hand in hand. So what's your favorite binge order combination?
Oh man, I feel been on this like Korean or Asian kick lately. I love spicy food, probably too much. I often order it, and my husband's like, "Why did you order the spicy thing again?" But I would say it's that and my streaming I'm getting really excited about Ted Lasso and Yellow Jackets to come again. But The Last of Us has been our show of choice right now, and I'm debating on whether to stop watching it before bed because I can't stop thinking about it and I can't fall asleep, and there's a lot of anxiety. But it's great. What about you?
As the dad of two little girls, I think for my wife and me, anything that we can stream and eat in quiet if they're asleep is a good thing. But as you mentioned, we always try to do family dinner together, but we'll oftentimes DoorDash dessert as we're streaming a show. And the latest things we've been watching are Last of Us. We've also been watching Shrinking on Apple TV, which I give a big endorsement to. It's by the creators of Scrubs, and I loved that show, and I love Jason Segel. And super excited about the return of Succession.
Oh yes, I can't wait for that one. What is that? That's like this month, right?
I think it's like in the next week or two.
Yeah,
Is there anyone from
good.
HBO in the audience? I think it's coming very soon. Next Sunday.
Next Sunday
on HBO.
There we go. Awesome. So if anybody has questions, would love to answer. I think we've got one over here.
Wait, we're going to try to get you the microphone. I don't know. If you want to step out to the side, maybe it'll be easier. I don't want to strangle anybody with the wire.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hi, awesome, thank you. So quick question in terms of data sharing, which is I recognize that when it comes to attribution in doing something like this and actually capturing engagement and taking these branding dollars and driving real results, there's a level of data sharing that's been happening between the two companies. How do you think about passing your data back and forth, and what's that going to look like for you moving forward?
So we, through obviously privacy compliant safe havens that we both use together, we've matched DoorDash's consumer data with, at the household level with Roku's. So we do have an overlap and direct match. So therefore, we can directly attribute exposure on Roku devices to subsequent purchase on DoorDash, and we're constantly sort of refreshing that match, and we're running the analysis, I think, just about every day in terms of the impact of these campaigns. We're looking at like a 7-day attribution window, but that's obviously something that's totally flexible based on the advertiser's desire. A CPG might care about 60 days because CPGs just want kind of top of funnel awareness and continued reinforcement of that message. So that's how we're doing. We've directly matched our data, and then we are looking at both direct sort of clicks and redemptions of that unique offer in that moment, but also maybe just purchases without that offer that happened 3 or 7 days later because advertisers very much care about that, halo effect that video can drive.
So going back to I'm Lauren Albin.
going back to the application, if you get the text, so actually I have two questions. Does it go immediately to your DoorDash account that you already have, like on your phone, or it's asking you to log in?
Yeah, if you're logged in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, are you doing everything? I'm assuming that must be a co-op type of a campaign with Wendy's from a spend standpoint. Are y'all sharing the cost, and is that how you do all of your business, or does DoorDash have their own budget as well?
Yeah, so the first question was about the user experience, and yes, if you click that text message that you receive, the DoorDash app will open up, you're logged into your account, and you're off to the races. If you're not logged in or you're not a DoorDash customer yet, you can obviously create your account or sign in, and then again, the promo code will be redeemed, and you'll get that $5 off offer. So again, it's not making you do something you're not used to, you're just right in the DoorDash app, in your account, and you're off to the races. I think the second question was about like sort of the economics and whose advertiser it is and how costs are being shared and all that sort of stuff. So the way that the first campaign has worked, it's really, as you saw, like the advertising is running on Roku. So the sort of advertising relationship that I would say is between Roku and the and the advertiser, but then the promotion aspect of it is between DoorDash and the advertiser, because there's obviously a $5 off that's coming off your DoorDash bill, if you will. But both my team and Lindsay's team and our sort of go-to-market teams are in touch daily about what joint advertisers we think this would be a good experience for. Obviously, the advertisers need to sell their goods through DoorDash in the first place to be eligible, and even better if they're also advertising customers of ours, because we can then work with them about how this sort of off-channel advertisement can align with the rest of their in-DoorDash advertising that they're running simultaneously. So we're starting to think about this as almost just another aspect of their sort of marketing strategy as it relates to DoorDash.
We do make it easy for the advertiser, though. Like, the contracting is just with Roku, so you're not signing multiple different pieces of paper. So just making it seamless for the advertiser and the consumer is exactly what our focus was.
First of all, thank you. Great presentation and bringing to life the consumer experience. So
Yeah,
question, two questions. What is your intersection of membership between the Roku users and the DoorDash users? And are you getting new users as a result of that? And then the second question would be, could you give me a directional guidance of some success rates in engagement as well as in attribution?
So I don't think we're allowed to share the actual overlap between our companies, but I will say it's very high. We wouldn't have done this partnership if there wasn't alignment between our consumer bases. So it is very high. And the second part of your question of is DoorDash getting new customers? We are. We've seen signups already. Again, I can't disclose the numbers, but while I work in our ads business, my counterparts on the DoorDash marketing side are equally excited in this because it is acquiring new users for DoorDash. Thanks to Roku, we're acquiring new Dash Pass customers and hopefully just more purchases and monthly active users through the scale that Roku can offer. So that's a huge benefit for us. And then I think your second question was about metrics for the campaign. We don't have the specific metrics that we can share just yet. Wendy's hasn't even heard them because we're in early days. But what I will say is directionally, at least what we've seen on the DoorDash side, because we haven't done the full data match yet, but the conversion rate for people who click the link, once they get the text message, they click the link, of everyone who clicks the link and then actually redeems that offer and checks out from Wendy's is astronomically higher than we see in other marketing channels, which obviously indicates that someone that sort of sees that and takes that action is probably pretty high intent. Like, it is speaking to them at a right moment and capturing their intention. And even though it is a very easy consumer experience, you still are maybe picking up your remote and taking the effort of doing something. So the customer that is taking advantage of it is very high intent, and that conversion rate has been very, very strong once you get the text message and click into DoorDash. So we're really excited about that. And the last thing I would say is, like, this is the first campaign we've done. There are a lot of opportunities, I think, in that consumer flow that we can think about continuing to remove friction points. and make it even more seamless. So in full disclosure, this first campaign, if you get it, it actually tells you a promo code in the text message that you have to manually enter. The next one, hopefully you won't have to manually enter that promo code, and it'll just be auto-loaded for you. So that's one extra step that we're removing from the consumer experience. So we're looking at those metrics and constantly evaluating where in that consumer journey we can
screen. And so those are the types of tweaks that we can do, on the front end all the way down through the consumer journey, and our teams have been really great and collaborative in that way.
And lastly, as we look to like other types of advertisers, so CPG advertisers have expressed a lot of interest in this. So we just had a call yesterday with Roku to work on what the CPG experience is, because that's quite different, right? A CPG is one item in a basket sold by a totally different retailer, whereas Wendy's is an ad for Wendy's and you're buying at Wendy's. So what is that consumer experience if you see an ad for X CPG company? What store do we land you on? How easy do we make it for you to add that to your basket and take advantage of that offer? So again, we're continuing to sort of iterate on that flow as well.
I have a quick question. Pierre, I loved like the idea of converting on a cost per. I think that's like a DR person's dream, like just paying for that actual conversion. It's been near impossible to do like in streaming, but I love that that's like a model that you guys have. And like on the topic of like optimizations, how are you guys doing optimizations outside of just creative? Like, does Roku have the technology to optimize towards high intent households, viewers, or are you optimizing towards a business outcome like a conversion or just some level of interactivity?
Yeah, we are. There's lots of different intent signals. Did they interact with it? Can we retarget them later? Depending on the different targeting segments that are applied, we optimize in between those. Yes, we're looking at all of that in the upfront. I do want to clarify, though, just to your point of the way the model is working right now for an advertiser, they are buying on a CPM basis. Eventually, hopefully, someday we can get to that point after lots of testing. That's definitely a model to aspire to.
Cool, thank you.
All right. Oh, we got one more question? Yeah.
So it sounds like right now this is a national product that you're selling to national advertisers. Are you ever going to localize it, and can you do dynamic creative for different marketplaces? Like people in Texas are going to want something different than people on the East Coast or the West Coast. Are you going to be able to do those things? I have one more question.
Yeah. So the short answer to that is yes. Roku has the ability to geo-target and obviously run sort of different campaigns in different areas. And we also have the data on the DoorDash side of what advertisers are within what delivery radius and what zip codes are eligible for that advertiser and whatnot. So the short answer is yes, we started nationally to just try to get as much signal and data in the early days of this, but definitely sort of phase 2 will be more regional brands. And quite frankly, again, that's where DoorDash started. That's like in our core is helping local economies. Over half of our advertisers in DoorDash are local sort of one-off advertisers. So we care very much about that, and that's definitely where we can take this.
So my other question is, are you ever going to open this up? I know it's your concept, I think, but are you ever going to open this up to other OEMs because you're only in the Roku audience right now. How will you apply this to the same strategy to other areas?
Well, we'll see. You said I have to give my friends at Roku a plug here. You said you're only in the Roku audience, but that is 70 million homes. It is by far the dominant player, just as DoorDash is the dominant player. So we felt that was an obvious opportunity to start. And look, we're continuing to obviously think about other ways that we can just branch out from DoorDash, and where and when that makes sense is an ongoing conversation and something we continue to think about. But for now, it was almost like a no-brainer of who to start with, and we're really, really psyched about the scale that we're getting from Roku.
Amazing. Well, I would say a few things. First of all, as a fellow Scrubs fan, I'm very excited for shrinking, so I'm glad that it's good. I would say, as somebody who watches The Last of Us, if you have the time, a little mental palate cleanser, right? So after The Last of Us, going to Ted Lasso or some mindless reality show.
That's a good
that's
advice.
Worked wonders. And I would love to see, I feel like, we have half of it right here, but you get HBO involved and another, QSR, and there's a really great, like a cordyceps burger, like get like a vegan mushroom burger. There could be something really interesting there. But I'm just thinking out loud. I'm all about the brand
It's
collab.
solid. If there's a HBO, I don't know anyone.
They're here
yeah,
somewhere. They're
let us
speaking
know.
on our stage this weekend, so we'll find them. But let's give a big round of applause. Thank you
Thank
so
you, guys.
much. This
Thanks,
is great.
everyone.